It's Wednesday, May the 24th. Lake level is about 928.5. It's actually coming down right now. It came up about a foot and a half since I report last weekend from all the rain we had this past weekend. It finally crested and like I say, it's starting on its way back down again. But the water temperature's on its way down too. I never got above 70 degrees this morning. It was about 68, 69 degrees when I started. The last 2 or 3 days I haven't seen much over probably 72 degrees or so. It's been a little cooler out there. The sun hadn't been out that much. But, you know, a lot going on in the fishing. The last few days I've been catching a lot of fish on spinnerbait, catching some on jigs, beavers, you know, catching them flipping. And my previous reports, I hadn't been catching a lot of fish or talking about a spinnerbait a whole lot. And a lot of times that depends on the clients I have as far as what style of fishing they want to do and how they want to try to catch fish. Well, the last 3-4 days, I've had some guys that like to throw a spinnerbait and want to learn how to flip some. So we've been in the bushes and the bite's been good in there. It's been, you know, a little better in the morning. But I've been throwing several different spinnerbaits, but the one that's been working probably the most consistent, it's a War Eagle. It's either a 3/8 ounce or a ½ ounce I'm throwing. And it's basically a purple shad, but it's got a few strands of chartreuse in it. Now, the only place that I know of that you can get this particular skirt combination is at Sportsman Factory Outlet. You can buy the purple shad War Eagle in a lot of different places, but I think that Sportsman Factory is the only one that's got a few strands of chartreuse. Speaking of Sportsman Factory Outlet, I was in there Wednesday afternoon, and they've got a Memorial Day sale going on, and it'll be over Saturday. They're open till 3 o'clock. They've got a bunch of stuff in there on sale. There's a lot of stuff they've got that's 50% or more off. I know like all the Lew's line is 50% off. And they've got some other special deals going on where they've got 20% off on anything, any item in the store per day. You know, one item per day. But I'm sure if you wanted 2 or 3 rods or reels or 2 or 3 batteries that work something out with you, or maybe you'd have to come back another day. But there's a lot of discontinued items getting ready for a lot of the, you know, new product that's coming out. And they've just got, you know, like I say, a lot of different products on sale in there. So if you get a chance, you need to go by, check it out, you know, see what they've got. But the other spinnerbaits, I'm still catching some on a War Eagle, the coleslaw with the white blades. And this is working a little bit better where the water's real dirty. I've been fishing the mid-lake area from like Ants Creek to Baxter to just on the other side of Cow Creek. And most the places in there, you know, it's got 2 to 4 feet of visibility. Now, places I'm catching a lot of these spinnerbait fish, I'm catching spinnerbait fish and flipping fish in the same area. My best bite seems to be on, you know, main lake, flatter points. Preferably points where I feel that the current or the wind is coming over the top of it. The spinnerbait bite is without a doubt better the first few hours. And then when it slows down, we've been able to flip some fish. And the baits I've been flipping, this is a Strike King rodent. Been throwing it on a 1/4 ounce or a 5/16 ounce bullet weight, tungsten weight. And sometimes I'm pegging it, sometimes I'm not. A lot of people ask me when and why. If I'm fishing in the real thick bushes, I will peg it because I want the bait to go where the weight is. And if I'm fishing it more in the open water, which is the way we've been fishing along these isolated bushes, I like the weight separate. So when I'm working it through a bush, a lot of times the bait will fall different than the weight. It won't fall with it. And also when the fish picks the bait up, he doesn't feel the weight and he's apt to hold on a little bit longer, give you more time to get a hook set. But if we're flipping right into the thickest part of the cover, I usually want it pegged. So I've usually got one of each. But the way we've been catching the spinnerbait fish is not way back up in there shallow. I've been at the edge of the bush line, which is about 10 to 15 foot But a lot of them bushes, they got 4 or 5 foot of water. When the sun gets out, you can see them. And what I'm doing is dropping that spinnerbait down about 3 or 4 feet and just slow rolling it. And like I said, if I can't get them to bite on a spinnerbait, I'm taking a creature bait like that rodent or reaction renovation, sweet beaver, Texas rig baby brush hog, working it through the same area. Now, a lot of the other bites are still going on as well. As far as a swim bait, they'll still bite a Ned rig on the flat gravel points. You want to set the boat about 20 to 25 foot and try to key on the old shoreline, which is going to be about 12 to 14 feet. Now, I've been using a little bit bigger swim bait. I was using a 2.8, Kitech quite a bit. This is a Strike King, a 3.8, and then I've also got a Kitech 3.3, I think. But they're sexy shad color. I'm throwing them on a 1/4 ounce or 5/16 ounce head and just letting it fall down about 5 to 6 feet and reeling it slow and steady back to the boat. And there's a lot more largemouth showing up, in the bushes and also on the swim bait. I think a lot of these fish have finally started to get rested up from the spawn, and they're starting to back out there and feed a little bit more. A lot of these same main lake points where I'm flipping and throwing a spinnerbait, if that slacks off on you, you can back out with a 5/8 ounce football jig. A lot of different colors that working too. Purple and brown, PBJ, green pumpkin and orange, and I'm using like either a Zoom speed craw for a trailer, any kind of twin tail, like a twin tail chomper, rage craw trailer, anything that's got some leg action. Just getting it down on the bottom and working back real slow to the boat. A lot of times if you miss a bite, you want to just drop the bait right back down. Once you get the fish interested, it seems like he'll stay with it so you can get hooked up. And another thing that we've noticed is sometimes when we miss a fish and jerk on the bait, it seems like they'll come back and they hit it pretty violently. If it's a good hard strike, what I'll do a lot of times, instead of dragging the jig, I'll get it on the bottom, pop it 2 or 3 feet, let it go back down. We kind of call that stroking the jig. What you do is you get it on the bottom and stroke it up 3 or 4 feet, let it go back down. You just got to kind of mix it up, see how the fish want it. Every day it's a little bit different. The Ned rig bite and the underspin bite, like I said, is still there. I still haven't seen very much topwater. We did see some fish schooling this morning. We caught a few out of them on a swim bait and a spinnerbait. But I haven't been able to just go down the bank and throw like a buzz bait or a spook or anything like that, or whopper plopper and pull fish. I think if you put it in your hand and throw it all day, you probably get a few bites. But, as the water starts to warm up, and the lake's really in pretty good shape. I was up at Shell Knob, I think Sunday. There was quite a few logs up there and the water was a little dirtier. But there's certain little areas, some areas, especially when the wind's not blowing, there'll be a lot of stuff kind of scattered out throughout the lake. So just make sure you got your life jacket on. Try to pay attention to them floaters out there. But once the wind picks up and starts blowing, most of that stuff is usually pushed to one side or the other. But you still got to keep an eye out for it. So going to be quite a few boats out this weekend. Everybody try to be safe. And looks like we're going to have a little rain maybe Saturday, which isn't going to hurt the spinnerbait bite one bit. So, till next week, good luck, good fishing.